Hello friends, today I'm excited to bring to you another very cool product from Muthos Homura. This is their Psycho Edge 01, the right-handed version. And if you're familiar with Muthos Homura, they make asymmetrically ground knives, and they're for either left-hand use or right-hand use predominantly, even though obviously you can use them on both sides. So in these cases, as you can see, this is the Prominence MH001, has a flat, or they call it a straight, but let's say a high saber grind. This would be a usual saber grind. It's starting from the middle section, and then on the Psycho Edge we have a Scandi ground blade, and in the case of the Prominence MH001, which also applies to the MH015, their next model, they have convex blades. These two knives are absolute beasts and champions in my entire collection for wood splitting. Nothing comes close. I have plenty of thick and full convex ground knives. These outperform every other knife in wood splitting. They're also very comfortable to use for feather sticking, because you use the flat side to kind of set your angle, and then it acts as your regular convex ground knife would. So very comfortable to do feather sticks with. All three of them have very sharp ground 90-degree spines, so you can scrape, which is actually my preferred method of feather sticking, as the grinding produces much thinner wood particles that catch a spark much easier. The difference is not only in the grind, but also this is 4 millimeters and the MH001 is 5.5 millimeters, so substantially thicker, as you can see. And I want you to also pay attention to the tip. This is interesting. So the flat grind starts here on the left side, and as you can see, the Scandi grind is very close up to the tip, extremely strong tip, even stronger actually than the Prominence models of their knives. The steel on both is their proprietary stainless steel, which is HS01 high strength special stainless steel. I asked them what kind of steel that is, and their response is that it is very similar to LMAX. Also, it is similar to LMAX in HRC, the hardness, which is 60 plus sub-zero treatment. The metal is very resilient to edge damage, holds a great edge in use. I have not had to resharpen any of these knives, despite of banging on them, doing all kinds of tests with wood and meat preparation. I've only stropped them, and not even heavily stropped them. Just after use, I like to strop up my knives. They have maintained factory sharpness so far. So let's do some testing with this. As you can see, it is almost identical to the MH001, but has some subtle improvements. All of the edges on the tang are well chamfered, including the holes. I actually had that note on the original MH001. The edges were a bit too sharp, so I had to sand them down and chamfer the round holes in here. That is all done on both actually the MH015 and the Psycho Edge 01. And the other difference is that this tang is slightly wider, as the tang protrudes by about 1 or maybe 1.5 millimeters on each side. It does not make the handle uncomfortable in any way, again because it is chamfered. There is 0 hot spots. Very comfortable hold. I've already done some light testing with this, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised. It acts very similarly in the sense that I already mentioned. You use the flat side or the saber side to kind of find your bearing, your angle, and then this acts as a convex and this acts as a Scandi, and they're actually not very different to each other. Before I go to the testing, I want to mention some specs in terms of the pricing. So these knives are rather expensive and they're not cheap, so to say. And especially if you're buying them in the US, because the knives are made in Japan, you can thank Mr. Trump for his tariffs. The original price for this blade, for example, in Japan on their website is $285 plus minus $3-5 depending on the exchange rate. And acknowledging the fact that their knives are not cheap, this is even more expensive than the MH001. They've tried to offer you a more affordable option. This one, again, original price on their website is $185 US, and that increases due to the tariffs. And when you go to the Muthos Homura website, they have an entire page explaining the tariffs, how they work, and how they are the reason that these knives are more expensive in the United States than elsewhere. The other thing they've done to decrease the price is a simpler sheath compared to these very nice, thick, full-grain leather sheaths that come on the prominence models. The Psycho Edge comes with a nylon sheath, which is actually quite functional, but way cheaper to produce than the leather sheaths. What I really appreciate is that they do offer this knife with their awesome hammered textured look G10 scales. These are very nice scales and they go with the knife very well. They don't really have a palm swell. They do have this contour on the back, but overall a very comfortable hammer type of grip. The sheath also offers a loop for your fire steel, as you can see, but this fire steel does not come in the package. I just installed my own fire steel in here. Let me quickly demonstrate. I believe it is oak. If not oak, then this must be wild pear, but definitely hardwood, you see. And the consistency is quite good because I can always rely on this flat side. And as you can see, it curls up feathers very well. It would act differently if it was Scandic round on both sides. It would dig into the wood much more. But that flat side allows, this acts almost like the asymmetrical grind of flat and convex. So if I switch, I need to slant the knife even more to find the angle, and let me start off with a new piece. And you see how it wants to dig into the wood more, because now I'm using the Scandi side. So it has dual use. If you want larger chunks to be taken out of the wood, you use this side. If you want to be more delicate, now I expect the same exact edge retention from this Psycho Edge as the prominence line of their knives. So I'll just do some wood splitting because I'm interested to see how this blade performs compared to the absolute champions of wood splitting, which is the prominence line. Now, for this test, I'll be using the work gloves from Slickman. Slickman is a relatively new brand. They started off by producing welding gloves, very, very high quality, but at the same time affordable welding gloves. And I will have discount codes and description. That's not an affiliate link, but you still get a discount. And they have great options, very good materials, well designed, and a variety of work gloves. These are impact gloves. Then you have these cool looking, different colors, different type of leather, and very, very comfortable for outdoors and general work gloves. So I don't baby my knives. I try to give them a proper test All of these have knots in them. This is hardwood, it's not pine. And let's start with the one that has just one knot on the bottom. It is twisted grain, but we'll start off light and go harder. So Psycho Edge from Muthos Homura. It was relatively easy, and because the size and dimensions are very, very similar to the Prominence MH001, as you can see, slightly longer on the Psycho Edge. For the blade section, I'll compare how it feels splitting with the Prominence line. And these are beasts. They're Prominence line for wood splitting. You mind? Do you mind? It's all good, thank you. Checked. We're safe, thank you. So you see, it splits much easier. So, because this is a thicker knife, and because of the convex and combination of convex and a flat grind versus the Scandi and flat grind, this is just quicker and more convenient for wood splitting. This is no slouch, the Psycho Edge. But you see, I have to go down farther into the wood piece. This would be split already at this point if I was using the Prominence line. Okay, so let's go harder. There's a knot in this section, smaller knots. Let's see how we do. The cool thing about the tang protruding beyond the scales is that you can wail on this. I mean, you gotta be careful still, but you can hit the spine section without fearing to damage the scales. Split. Now let's do the same exercise, same piece of wood, knots, as you can see here, with the Prominence line to demonstrate the comparison. Molly, I'm working. Thank you. Molly. You see, already split. Thicker blade blank, as well as a convex grind compared to the Scandi grind. So these absolute champions for wood splitting. Let's take another one. Again, huge knot. And for that reason, let's start splitting from the top. That was surprisingly easy. Okay. So, overall, I'd say this is a good splitter, it just does not compare. Now I'm just testing the edge retention. It doesn't compare to the prominence line, but it is a good wood splitter. And I would say that this is a better wood splitter than a double Scandi would be, because of the same action that it has with the convex grind. Once this goes into the wood, the convex kind of slides over. It does this mechanical, when you hit it on top, because this is rounded, it has this type of action and it pushes away on the flat side, it pushes away the wood. Same goes for the Scandi. Once it goes in, because of this ridge at the end of the upper end of the Scandi grind, it has that same motion, and from the saber grind or the flat side, it pushes away the wood. Slickman gloves are awesome. Let's do some cross grain. This is really, really hard on the blade. I see zero warping on the blade, nothing. So let's see if this shaves steel, because it did shave from the factory. These come very, oh, there we go, shaves. These come very, very sharp from the factory. So I can definitely confirm that this acts like a well heat-treated L-Max steel. Very nice. What are my conclusions? If you could only get one and you want a blade for outdoors, you know, camp / survival, bushcraft type of activities, right? I would go with a Prominence MH015. Now keep in mind, these G10 scales are an upgrade to this. They originally come with the wooden handles, which are also very, very good, just obviously not as durable. So I upgraded them with the G10 handles, which they obviously also offer. They also have 3D printed scales, but in terms of resilience, toughness, I would prioritize these G10 handles. Also, I very much like their grip with this hammered texture. The Psycho Edge from the factory comes with those scales, so I think that's a huge benefit. So this is how I would rank them. I would say MH015, the top tier from their knives. Then it would be the MH001, and then lastly would be the Psycho Edge. Now this preference is also reflected in the prices. Obviously this is cheapest, middle priced, and most expensive. And yeah, if I could only get one, I would get the MH015. But if you want to test out and see their manufacturing quality, materials used, the steel, and just to test out a asymmetrical grind, I would go with a Psycho Edge anytime. This is a very, very tough blade. Let me demonstrate. Now, of course, this wood is rotten, so I will not insult your intelligence and test it there. I'm very, very confident with the tip. So let's take this hardwood, and I will go as hard as I can on this tip. There's no way I can damage this tip. There we go. No way. You see? It has more of a breakout if I break towards the Scandi grind, and it has very little breakout if I break out towards the saber grind. But I'm going quite deep. No way I could damage this tip. Probably the strongest tip out of the entire collection that I have. I mean, look at it. There's no way to damage that. Overall conclusions, I absolutely love what Muthos Homura is offering for the knife market. As you know, Japan is renowned for making blades, specifically samurai type of blades, the katanas, wakizashis, tantos, but they are also, I would say, number one in woodworking. Their carpentry is second to none. And Japan, being this island, has developed its own history, its own take on a variety of blades, and they have their own philosophy. This is very well reflected in the Muthos Homura brand, and all three of these blades are very, very unique blades. So I strongly recommend try one of these out. I'm sure that you love them. If you are an outdoorsman, you will appreciate what Muthos Homura brings to the table. Unfortunately, I cannot offer a discount code. I don't have an affiliate link, and of course I'm not paid. I'm not paid for any of the reviews that I post on my channel. I'm offered quite often, but I refuse because that keeps me honest and independent. None of my reviews are scripted. I don't preliminarily agree my text with anyone. I don't even write any of these text for the reviews prior to shooting a review. So all of my reactions and conclusions are genuine and honest. They've also sent me their Kratos X. This is also a very, very unique product. It's a splitting X. So a detailed review on this X is coming up next. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to the video, share if you found it interesting. Push that like button. It helps out the algorithm. And stay tuned for more cool content like this. Cheers, stay safe, stay healthy.